We need to start talking about, well, I know last week was crazy. We had no school.
Snowstorm. Woohoo!
2 rounds.
That means we're back up on work. Like,
Better.
Not really.
Yeah.
Here's what's going to happen. All right. I need everybody's attention going forward. Step number 1. The project, the vocabulary project, which is in Google, which is on the if you were here on the last day before the break, I had mentioned it. You had to pick 10 vocabulary words out of a list of, I think, 30 or some odd. And I will show you what it looks like again in Schoology. That's where it's located. I will pick it, I will get it. And actually, I also have it. I can bring it up again in like 30 seconds. This is, it's going to be a test grade for quarter number 2. What? It should let you open in Schoology. We'll talk about that momentarily. You are allowed to also do a paper version of this. The paper version being, I will tell you. So let's right now put away phones. We need to focus up here. Vocabulary project. You can also print this. First off, it's in Schoology. I did put a PDF version. You can print it at home. You can print it here at school. What's that? Use a computer at the library. That's an option too. Well, lunch period after school. That's a your time thing. This has been in, and I will show you where in Schoology this is located, because we have to go to Schoology for one other thing. It's your vocabulary project. The goal. Look over these vocabulary terms. In each vocabulary term, well, 1 point. Description, definition, 3 points. Picture, 2. And then a sentence, 4. You have to do at least 10 slides. This is what it looked like. Hurry up. So this is an example. You will not use this example. But basically, you pick the word. Here's your word bank. You pick the word. You get the definition. You get a picture. And then a sentence using this word in relationship to the picture. Do this 10 total times to get 100% full credit. Do not use this one because guess what? That's my slide. I'm showing you what it looks like. So, again, these are the 10 words. You're going to do this for 10 different times, 10 words. Now, this is in Schoology. I will show you where in a moment. We're going to be doing something else today because I gave you all some time before the break. I gave you all some time before the break. We'll look at it more later.
it with just a link?
I can do that too, but then you have to make your own copy.
That's fine. And I can actually like insert it into the
Okay. All right. That's fair enough. So later today, look at Schoology. There should be an extra link, but then you have to make your own copy. You cannot, and you should be able to. But if not, let me know. Absolute worst case scenario, that's fine. I'll check it as well. And then the other option would be I could post a paper copy, PDF, but then you'd have to print out the slides and then you can do like your writing and so on. So there's ways this can be done. You could take, you can, like you can either print or even take out of magazines. I'm just throwing, I'm throwing options out there. It's not necessarily math magazines. Is this math related? No. This is not math, it's not necessarily math related. The pictures. Pictures are just more of what we see every day that helps us relate to the math that we're doing in class. That's where we're going with this. I mean, I'm glad you're asking me these questions because this is very important. All right. Now, regarding Schoology, does anybody, all right, any final questions regarding this project? Because, again, this was assigned before the break. You have time until next week to finish, if you haven't already finished. If you finish, if you want to make fine-tuning, you want to make any updates, I'm okay with that. But next week, now this week is nice because we meet 1, 2, 3, 4 times actually this week. Because tomorrow we have Stinger 2, 3. So guess what? We have 4 opportunities. Any downtime we have to ask questions. Now, this week, the next part of the goal, I will tell you momentarily what the next part of the goal is for what we want to accomplish for the rest of this week. So, project, that's the rundown. I'll make adjustments if you still have difficulties opening the project. Again, this is where we need to ask questions. Again, the notes are on, most notes and recordings are in Schoology. All right, let's talk about Schoology. So I'm going to close this if that's okay with everybody. All right, let's talk about Schoology next. Right. And what another idea would be from now on, start bringing your computers to class. You will really need to start bringing your computers to class more and more. All right. This is what our Schoology class looks like. Well, it says vocabulary project quarter number 2 due today. But I will extend it. Don't worry about that for now. But they're going forward. Anytime you are absent, yes, there's going to be class recordings. Yes, there's also going to be some Zoom meetings going forward. So that's going to mean we have to be careful what we say. Now, the goal is to make sure that no faces are going to be like on recording. It's just going to be voices. but we still have to be careful what we say because given what's going on, there are people who will be home, who could be home for a little while, not long, but we don't know.
Wait, Dad, is there really like an option to do online?
All right, that I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. So that would be a see your counselor thing. 'Cause I cannot answer one way or the other. So I'm not going to answer that question. All I know is that that's mainly if someone is sick or they're going to be out for a while and they cannot come to the building due to health reasons. And yeah, we have to make sure that the students who are at home also have an opportunity to receive the education. However, if you're healthy, you're able to come to school, you're expected to be here. That's all I know. Now, as you all know, courses, if you go to Schoology, there's our class, geometry, counters. You should see these 5 tabs. There's also this very bottom one, the Zoom tag, the Zoom link. So that's in case if you're absent. Let's say you're absent for the day and you need to get a Zoom meeting, or what I'm going to do here as well, class notes activities. Well, Unit 4 notes, we should have, for instance, notes. Should be some recordings as well, or links. I think these are links. So these are test reviews, links to the test review. And that should be the recording part. PDF should be the paper part. Write down your notes, and you write down then your homework, of course. Each section, unit 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, if you need blank copies, this is where the blank copy will be. So study guides as well. That's a blank copy. One more time. Oops. And for some of you, if we went back to the beginning, you know how I had add-on activities that some of you needed to complete? They're right here. You can do paper. It's PDF, it's a paper. Google Form, that's the link. And then also, so some of you may still need to do the add-on activities to get some points. For units 3 and 4, you still have that opportunity. That might also not be a bad idea if you want a refresher from what we're going to talk about momentarily regarding what we're going to be doing next. Then you also have, go back to our class one more time, after the add-on activities, projects. Okay. Valerie, I want you to see this. I want you to see this well. In Schoology, you're able to get the Schoology, right? That green folder, projects. 2 versions. This is for everybody as well. Version 1. You click. You should have the Google Slide activity. You click on it. Okay. You have access to the paper copy, right? Okay, so you would have to still print that up. because I will take a hard copy as well. I'm okay with that. I understand. If you can do it online, that's better. But if you can't do it online, or if you're having difficulties, I'm just throwing the paper version out there. So you have the alternate option. Some people it's easier for online. I'm okay with that. Some of us it's easier. Print, do the writing, put the pictures. I'm okay with that too. I'm just throwing both options out there. I mean, the third option could be, which I might put later, the link, but you have to make your own copy. So that's a third option, but that should be it. You should have all three options once I do that. So do check later today. But that's the third option. So now there will be 3 total options for everybody to have access to this project if you have not finished already. Or if you're still working on it. This is what you need to do. And again, this is a test grade for quarter number 2. So if you do really well on this, this is going to help you for your overall average. So some of us, and also with what we've been doing with Schoology, if you're not sure what to do or what you need to do, okay, always come to Schoology. Instructions are always here. That's where we need to go. This is your one-stop shop for everything. And we do our best to divvy it up in like quarters, units, and so on. All right. Anybody have any questions before we go on to our next activity? Where's your agenda? Set it up. And then we'll get going. All right. So now here's what we're going to do. So again, project we talked about, 2 add-ons. Add-ons, you know where to go. They are in Schoology. Now, what we're going to be doing, there was 1 or 2 options. Option 1 was start something new, but given the time constraints, being we did not have last week at all, I thought a better idea would be to review everything we've learned up through this point. Units 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to probably do Unit 1 and a little bit of 2 today. Continue with 2, 3 on Wednesday. And then finish up hopefully by Friday of this week. What I'm going to do, I have no package, so the Unit 1 session review. So that's going to be, I'm going to pass them out. Now, here's the other part, and I'll reiterate this. I think we'll pass it down to your right-hand side. Now, what I'm also going to do is that you're gonna use these note packets, but for this main test, you're gonna limit it. I'm gonna limit you. Rather than all the note packets, you're gonna make your 1 page front and back. Now, as we go through the test, I'm going to probably star some of the questions that, okay, you really should know this. and some of the vocabulary, because vocabulary is going to be the key. Because I can see right now with 1, 2, 3, 4 test reviews and everything, rather than looking through everything throughout the time, I'd rather you just focus on like maybe 1 or at most 2 pages of info. But you're going to be making it up. You're going to make up that stuff. This, I'll tell you what questions are going to be most important. But then from there, you're going to have to try to find a way. You can take a page of notes, maybe 2 at most. And that's going to be part of that's going to be another little activity. So when we come back, that first week we start quarter 3, which is going to be the end of this month. 2 weeks from now. You're going to have the mid-year test. This is going to be this is sort of what I want to see what you know up to this point. I want to see what you know. Also, some of you might be taking an SOL for the class. There might be a few of you, I don't know who. So my concern is, I'm playing it so like, if you're taking it, this is something to help. Now a lot of you probably are not. But again, I don't know who is and who is not. That's why I'd rather play it safe. Look at what we know. And like down the road, like when we do like quarter 3, quarter 4, we have to do review activities. We talk about those review activities.
I was in this class for data science.
Okay, so that's why we're going to look at some of the Unit 1 review. So this is the reason why we're going to review it as well. Okay. So, Units 1, 2, we're going to start. Because I have the Unit 2 as well. It's actually a Unit 2 test. And then we'll probably continue with 2. Now, all of these, as we complete these, they're going to be grades. Like, complete the packet, I'm going to give you the grade. But that's what we're going to do in class. So this is an easy classwork grade. So boost up those grades. And then if we don't finish anything, I'll be okay with it. I'll know what you did finish, what we didn't finish, and I'm not going to penalize. Let's say we don't finish all of Unit 1 per se. I'm not going to penalize anybody. All right? So let's begin. Okay. First page. Okay, don't worry about that except for the bottom question. Your midpoint segment. Midpoint. So, this one. The midpoint part, we do need to worry about a little. So the midpoint, remember, you take your midpoint, you take your x1 plus your x2, add them up, then divide by 2. And then it's your y2, oh, no, sorry, y1 plus y2, well, it wouldn't matter if it's y. Divide by 2. So, and then again, your key, label, label, label. X1, Y1. X2, Y2. Label everything. So once you label your X's and your Y's, then from there, follow this formula. Follow the rule. So the X's, what 2 numbers are our X's?
5 and 13.
5 and 13. You have 5 plus 13, then you divide by 2. So what would be 5 plus 13?
18.
And that was 18 divided by 2.
9.
9. comma. Well, what about our y values? What are our y values?
-4 and 3.
-4 and 3?
-1 and 3.
-1 and 3. Okay, my fault. What is -1 plus 3? Watch your signs.
2?
2. Yeah. And then what's 2 divided by 2?
1.
1. All right. This one you should know. So I'm going to tell you right now, start this one right here. I will ask you about a midpoint. Do you know the midpoint? Do you know it well? Now, so midpoint, definitely no. The next one, on the other hand, is I think I gave you a point, then the midpoint, you have to get the final point. If memory serves me right. I'll look at that question in a second. But the midpoint, do know this. That you will see on your test. Beginning. Okay. I posted it at the beginning. It's going to be your, quote, mid-year test, like the mid-year review. That's all we're going to be doing this whole week. And a little bit of next week, along with catching up, finalizing what the following week, when we start the third quarter on the 25th, will be that test day. That's going to be test day number 1. These packets, I'm going to tell you, we're not going to do all the problems on the unit 1, 2, 3, 4, because there's some, like after this first one, the second question, let me look at it. I want to see what that one's about, because are we good with the first question? How to get that midpoint? Christian, you got it? Valerie? Words, Mia? Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I just need to get some toilet paper.
Oh, you're good. No problem at all.
I'm just sorry.
Okay. This next one. Here's the deal with this next one. You know how this was that you basically copy and repeat deal? Because I gave you an endpoint, and then I gave you the midpoint. You had to find this other midpoint, the other endpoint there. Okay, this one, put an X on it. You're not going to be required to do it. Yeah, this type question. So this is also what I mean by following rules. I'm going to tell you, there's going to be some questions. Put an X on it. Don't worry about it. But that's also the idea of following what my directions are. That's also going to be where, like, if somebody said, oh, I did it, but you didn't put X's on certain questions I told you to do, that means you were not paying attention, following along. So that's what we have going on. So the regular midpoint, you can do. This one, don't worry about it. All right. Okay. Distance. On that one as well, just like the previous one, I'm not going to have you worry about it. However, you might see this on the final. That's all you're going to write for that problem. Number 3 and number 5. Just write Macy on final. So that's what, just write exactly what I told you. The underlying distance, Macy on the final, you're not going to get on a midterm. The next one, on the other hand, complementary angles. Who can tell us what complementary angles are? They have to add up to 90. So this one you definitely will see. So who can tell us which option forms the complementary angles? Des. 42 and 48. Alex agrees. Agree or disagree? Jason agrees, Andy agrees, and I agree too. There you go. 42 plus 48, that gives us 90. That's all you do, add them up. The other ones will not work because I think the top one only adds up to 60. The third one adds up to 89, and the other one adds up to 99. So they cannot work. Complementary, 90 degrees. Yep. All right, questions on that part? Okay. Supplementary. You must add up to one number. Add up to 180. Oh, really quick, I should have said on that previous problem. Okay, I did start that previous problem. This one I'm going to start as well. Add up to 180. So, out of our four choices, which one adds up to 180? 125 and 55. Add up, boom, you get 180. There you go, good job. Questions? Yep, that one definitely star. Now the next one. This one we dealt with all year. Vertical angles. Oh, and I forgot to update it because what do we know about vertical angles? What's the relationship? They are equal. Congruent, equal. Yeah. Vertical angles. Angles are equal to each other. Yep, their measures equal. So like, I should say congruent. The vertical angles are congruent. So add that word congruent. That's actually a better word. Because they had the same measure. Vertical angles are congruent. The angle measures are equal to each other. That's going to be key, I think, for the next problem. Remember, this we've done for a long time. Vertical angles, there should be no excuse. We know by now they're congruent. They're equal to each other. All right, questions before we go to the next page? So, like, as we go through these, especially the star problems, or the star concepts, think about, okay, what should I be doing? What should I add to my note page? Now, the note page is going to be more of a homework idea. I mean, I'll bring it up again probably during Stinger tomorrow with everybody. Nice thing is I see everybody tomorrow during Stinger if that calendar holds up. So we'll talk about it then, too. And also, I think this upcoming weekend's a long weekend for everybody. For Martin Luther King Day, next Monday. Next week. Next Monday, no school. And then also next Friday. And the following Monday. So, plenty of opportunities. Think about what you need to do. Think about what you have to do to not only end this quarter on a strong note, but start the next quarter on a strong note as well.
Wait, do we have school this Friday?
Next Friday. This Friday's a regular day. So this week is a regular week. All right, questions on vertical angles, congruent? That's the idea. And then again, we go to the next page, and it looks longer than it is because it's just a lot of diagrams. But the concepts we know the concepts better than we think. So given a relationship, vertical angles, this is actually going to be a two-part question. What do we know about these two angles again? They are congruent. Set them equal to each other. Set the 5x minus 6 equal to 3x plus 12. Then from there, that's your equation. Can we solve for x from here? I want you all to try that real quick. Try solving for x on your own. Solve for x. So the vertical angles, set them equal to each other. Let's set up your equation, okay? Set up your equation. Try to find an x. Okay, you got it. Go around, see how we are doing. If you have questions, let me know. Non-verbal on the other.
Wait, what?
Remember, bring it to the other side. The plus or minus 3x. That's right.
You have to listen to the other show.
Wait a minute. So it's gonna be a moment.
Yeah.
One of because of this. Okay. One of it could be because you're on a Mac computer. Go back at one spot. Click on the bottom.
You can see the body.
Okay. All right. Now,
Where was the capital?
you went too far down. One. All those words. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you got it now. All right. Couple quick steps. Step number 1. what's our goal? Remember, we want variables on one side, non-variables on the other side. So who could tell us what would be one potential first step, real quick? What will be our first step here? Who could tell us? You do that, minus 3x on both sides. Remember, you set them equal to each other. 5x minus 3x is how many x's? 2x minus 6 is 12. And then next step, plus 6. That is correct. You add 6 on both sides. Remember, if you bring in a term from one side to the other, you have to do the opposite sign. Yup. So 12 plus 6, 18. 2x equals 18. Divide by 2, that's our last step. And what are we getting again?
X equals 9.
Yup. All right, now, the next question. Now, these questions are going to be connected, if you already know. You take your x. I want your angle measurement. And you can use it in either one. You could either use it here or there. And it should say measurement, so don't worry about the x equals part. So we plug in x into either 5x minus 6 or 3x plus 12. So 5 times 9.
Where'd you get the 9 from?
X right. So we say given the value of x from the previous problem. And then on your test it will say given from the previous problem or which problem. But regardless, you should get the same value for both sides. So you plug in your x. If you haven't done so, plug it in. And then we do the order of operations. So your multiplication, then you add or subtract. Regardless, both sides should get the same number. You can do either or.
We did 5 times 9.
You can do that. So what's 5 times 9? And then what's 45 minus 6?
39.
Okay? Did anybody do the 3 times 9 plus 12?
39.
You got 39 as well. So it's 27 plus 12, 39. So in the end, you should get the same answer either way. Questions? So either way would work, but you should get the same because with the vertical angle, you should get the same angle measurement. All right, questions? Now, the next part. Okay. These two angles are complementary. Angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary. So they're complementary. 90. So angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 90. So that's complementary. That's automatically going to be this. Angle 1, angle 2 add up to 90. So what's going to happen in the end? The angle 1, which is x plus 4, plus 3x plus 2. You have to come. Now, unlike the previous problem, all your terms are on the same side.
Yes, sir.
Combine like terms, very good. CLT, combine like terms. Add your x's. And then add the 4 and the 2. So that's how Des, in the end, you said 4x plus 6 equals 90, correct? That's how we got that, ladies and gentlemen. Because angle 1, which is x plus 4, plus angle 2, 3x plus 2. Took Andy's advice. Combine your like terms. Bang, that's how you get the 4x plus 6. And then once you get to 4x plus 6, you can solve for the x. Just 2 quick steps. What's that? Subtract and divide. That's right, Casey. That's what he's doing. What do you subtract?
6 on both sides.
That's step number 1. And then 4x equals 84. And then what do we divide both sides by?
4.
There you go. And then you should get an x value of x equals what number? 21. Now, basically, for the other two for the rest of the page, 1 second. Rest of the page, all you're doing is just substitute. So you have your x. All you're going to do for the next two problems is just substitute. Measure of angle 1 and angle 2.
Are you going to put 21 plus 4?
Yep. So I'll have you all do that real quick. All right, I'll sign that. Sorry about that. All right, I'll take a look at it. Take that multiplication. Take that multiplication.
I got it right on first try. Well, I'm not talking about that.
What are you talking
Last one on the team.
All right. Remember that's twice.
You can keep these things. I know you do it. I can keep it 3 times 21.
I'm trying
Okay,
to
do
get
that
it
first.
right.
Is that division? Or is that
There you go.
elimination?
65, bro. Not.
Wait,
Right
Is
here.
that
Take a multiplication.
the difference of those two companies?
Yeah, you're right. But what's 3 times 21?
oh, okay.
Wait,
Yep. You had the right idea.
is that division or multiplication? Looks like division.
That's a plus sign. Okay, so for these last two on this page, x is 21, so then you just add them up. 21 plus 4. But then on the bottom, 3 times 21 plus 2. And your two numbers, your final two numbers should, if you add them up, add up to 90. Yup, you got it right. So remember, you already saw for the x, so you're just gonna substitute 21 plus 4, and then 2 times 21 plus 2. Okay?
Listen,
Yeah.
offering.
Okay. For the first, for 7B, yeah. Do that separately. That's the bottom problem.
I did, I said I'm holding in, so.
Yep, that's all. Good. Good. Okay, so you got that one? Now, 3 times 21 plus 2. That's what you're gonna do for this bottom one. Okay, yeah, this one is gonna be down here. But you got the right idea. That's what counts. All right. Any questions?
I know you
All right. You got 21 plus 4. What was 21 plus 4?
25.
So we got 25. And really, since they were complementary, you could have had one or two ways. I mean, the quickest way, 3 times 21 plus 2, which 3 times 21, 63. Plus 2 is
65.
65. Now, the other way you could have done it, if the total has to be 90, and we started with 25, if you had said, another way you could have done it was 90 minus 25. You didn't want me to write that. 65. I'm going to take in that 2. I'm going to, like, if you did this, I would have accepted it. Because you told me the total has to be 90, and if this is 25, this one has to be 65. So that's another way I would have accepted it. And you did your work fair and square. Because the goal also is logic. Be logical with everything. Because if you write down an answer, but you don't have a logic to it, no good. All right, questions on that problem? All right, next page. All right, linear pair. It's a linear pair. The sum of the angles is how many degrees?
180.
Very good. Sum of the angles, 180. So basically, we're just going to add these two. It's 3q plus 15q plus 18 is 180. All right. Combine like terms. Very good, Andy. So what two terms can we combine first?
3x and 15x. I mean,
Okay. So how many total?
18q.
18q. All right. Your 3q plus 15q gives us 18q. Plus 18 is 180. Now from here, all you have to do is solve for q. I'm not going to have you do anything else.
Oh, you're not the software?
Just solve for q.
Oh, okay.
Get the variable. So basically, now we're down to basically a two-step problem here. All right, here's how we get that 9. So after you combine your like terms, which we did here, CLT, 18q plus 18 equals 180. Somebody said it before, 2 words. 2 operations. First one was subtract and divide, that's all. Minus 18. So 180 minus 18 is how much? How much is that? Yup. And then what do we divide both sides by?
18.
Yup. So Q equals, what number? 9. 9. So there you go. Questions on that one? So linear pairs, sum them up is 180. All right. Anybody have questions on that one? Now the next one's going to be a little bit tricky, or a lot tricky. The one on that bottom of this page. Oh, too fast, don't go yet. Now, here's what's going on here. It gave us the distance from A to C. A to C was how long? 48. But what do we notice about AC?
It's split into two.
It's split into two. So AC is, remember, AB was BC. Do we agree to this? Do we agree to this first line that we just wrote? That's the key step. You got to get this step first. Once you get that step, then we say, okay, AC, we found out right away was how much? What was the grand total? From A all the way to C. 48. Then from there, well, what do we know? Do we know exactly what AB is yet?
No.
But do we have an expression for AB?
2x minus 4.
2x minus 4. So AB is 2x minus 4. Plus, well, do we know the expression for BC?
3x plus 2.
3x plus 2. Oops, we're not going to do that. Remember, unlike before, unlike some of the problems where I told you this point's the midpoint, this is not the midpoint here. AB plus BC is going to give us a grand total. That's a, yeah, you're going to combine these terms. You're right, Valerie. You got to do your combined like terms deal. It's a CLT. So we do our combined like terms. Well, what terms can we combine on the right side of the equal sign?
48.
Okay, all right, one at a time. Okay, so one at a time. We can combine the x's, so what do we, when we combine the x's, what do we get? Get 5x. All right. What other terms can we combine?
If you do negative 4 plus 2,
Yep.
that's negative 2. And that,
Yes.
So I was going to ask you, okay, you say something.
You can write it as minus 2. Did you write it as plus negative 2?
No, I was confused, so that's why I was going to ask you before we were planning.
Sure, no problem. But that's, yep, negative 4, positive 2. So you owe somebody 4, but you only have 2. Then you still owe 2, so that's a negative. Then from here, what would be negative? Just 2 is negative. So 2x and the 3x. Think about it as $2 in one pocket, $3 in another. Well, this next step, yeah. Your next step. Now we're going to get rid of this negative 2 by adding 2. Very good. I'm going to say, do beware of this one. And then from there, 48 plus 2 is, okay, I know how you got your 10. But that's all right. What was the 10 represent? X, you're right, it is the X. Because after you divide both sides by what number, ladies and gentlemen? What number are we going to divide both sides?
What's five?
By 5. Then you're going to get your X's 10 power. So your answers did make sense. So,
And give me 10.
so 10 would just equal X. And then, so I think with some of these, look what's being asked. If you're looking for an X versus an actual value. So I think on the next page, you were just told to substitute and solve for the X. And after you got your X value, which is 10, the next two problems, you're going to take your X as 10 and substitute. That's all you were doing. If memory serves me right. Or did we just go with a different problem altogether? I don't remember. I'll find out in a second. All right. Questions about this problem here. The setup is the key. You've got to get this set up. Have to get this set up. I cannot stress it enough. Set up, set up, set up. Set up is the key. Okay. Now the next two, you can just try on your own. You just substitute. I'm not gonna go over this part as much. Just write X is 10. And you're just going to substitute. In this case, plug it in, and you'll get your answer. Same thing here. Because I want to spend more time. That's all you're doing. But just know, what is AB? AB is your first segment right here. And then with BC, this is BC over here. Yeah, careful. Think you had it by mistake. But I'll just give you these. But I really don't want to. I want to spend more time on some of the harder ones. Okay, next page. And then the bottom one.
32.
Yeah. Because if you add 16 and 32, what do you get? What if we add those two numbers up? What would we get?
48.
48. And that was the overall length. Okay? All right, questions? All right. Just trying to see what's left. So the next two problems, again, the key is going to be the setup. It's similar to what we did with the segment, but it's now going to be an angle. So the next page. All right. Here's what they're saying. Angle GFH, and I think a lot of us were concerned about the labeling. GFH, remember G starts here. Where's our turning point taking place? What letter? Where's our turning point? F. So we go from G to F. And then where do we go? F to where?
H.
F to H. Remember, the grand total between these two angles will equal 144. It said GFH is 144, which is then the same amount as the two smaller angles, 3x plus 2x minus 6. So this is the equation that we need. Given this diagram, the sum of the two angles adds up to 144. This is your equation. I'll rewrite it down here so we have a little more room. Now, some of these answers you could probably eliminate right away. Right away. Can x be negative 6?
No.
Now you're just down to one of these two, the 28.8 or the 30. In the end, it will be 30. Now, again, most times you should get the whole number answered, but sometimes you can have decimals for answers or fractions. You should get 30 in the end. Remember, first combine your like terms if you can. And then from there, this time you add rather than subtract, and then we divide. So again, anytime you have this one, you could see. And then I'll look at a few others. Because I think there's going to be, not so much in Unit 1, but I think in Unit 2, when we start talking about Unit 2, either tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on what we have going on, there's going to be a lot more cross-outs. Okay, questions on this? And then again, this next problem for number 10, x is 30. Now they just want GFD. So GFD, is it the angle on the left or the angle on the right?
Left.
It's going to be this one right here. GFD. Again, an idea might be use highlighters as well. On paper tests in our class, you are always, always, always allowed to use a highlighter. If you don't have any, I have plenty back there. So by where Andy and Valerie are located, there's plenty of extra highlighters back there. You can always use a highlighter.
You have to do 3 times 30, right?
Yes. This problem, 3 times 30, that's
I
you.
got that.
And that's exactly what you do here. Very good. Plug that 30 in. Take your 30. Boom. 3 times 30 is 90.
You have to put that first, that's what I can see.
It's a good idea because if we don't write the parentheses, you don't write it, then it just looks like, it might look like a number 330.
Okay, you just put the X on.
X or dot, that would help. So that's a good question. So if you put dot, that's fine too. That's helping you multiply. Good question. All right, questions on this one? All right. The last, you go to the next page, it's basically going to be the same thing. You take your x is 30. Now you're just plugging it in for this angle. And you should get 2 times 30 minus 6. Can anybody get that one?
54.
Yeah. Also, the other way, you knew this was 90. Grand total was 144. You could also do 144 minus 10. That's another option. Again, I want everybody to see as many options. The works better for you. All right. The next one. Angle bisector. The bisects, think about what item in your house could act like a bisector? Begins with an M. Near blank blank on the wall. Mirror.
Oh, I'm gonna say 13.
Going back in the day. Mirror, mirror on the wall. So that's your mirror. So we said right here,
So wouldn't it be 19 on both sides?
yup, this guy's a 19, this guy's a 19. So angle COA, so the measurement of angle COA is also 19. Yeah. So bisector, think about the mirror, mirror on the wall.
Is that COA?
Yeah, COA. Yeah, my A looked a little beat up there. Let's fix that.
Yo, out of school, yes, but
And then I think so again, bisector, and we talked about it a lot during unit 2 and 3 as well. It's the mirror. Both sides of the bisector should be the same, exact same. Angle bisector, perpendicular bisector, segment bisector, whatever bisector, everything gets chopped. Equal side, equal side.
so without that word, it's not equal.
May not necessarily be equal, but if you see bisector, 99, probably almost 100% of the time, it's going to be equal. Yeah, we can say, we'll play it safe. Bisector, mirror, both sides are bisector. Yeah,
I think I'm gonna do
you can do that too. You cut the pizza slice directly in half, 50-50.
Yeah, well, you that hungry?
Yeah.
You that hungry?
so.
They had to compare it to a pizza.
Yeah.
Oh no, they got me thinking about pizza back home in New York.
Oh. I love those pizzas.
New York pizza.
All right, so we said here, we said both sides were 19. The grand total, because BOA
38.
is going to be 38 because BO, and again, use your highlighter. Highlighter is going to tell us exactly what we need. So angle BOA is going to be 38. That's right. That's what you do. All right. Let's see what else we have. We only have about, we got about 10 minutes if that. I want to see what else is left. I just want to see what else is left for the unit 1. Okay, I definitely want to talk about the midpoint to this. All right. Okay, I'm only going to talk. All right. I think we got enough time. Basically, for the last little bit, midpoint. If you have your midpoint, what do you know about both sides of the midpoint? Your midpoint. M is your midpoint. That means both sides are what?
The same.
Same. They're congruent. So midpoint, again, midpoint is like a bisector as well. Splits your segment into 2 equal smaller sides. So midpoint, splits into the middle. That's the clue. When M is the midpoint, boom. You see midpoint, bang, split it right up. And obviously, what number is this going to be? I'm not even going to have to tell you.
6.
Yup, it definitely will not be the negative 4/3.
No, okay.
And this time it's going to be that guy right there, x equals 6. But the key is the setup. You get that setup, you solve. So write that, you got to write down that setup. If you wrote it down already, you're good. But if you didn't, write it down. And then, now, I'm not going to go over this one so much because I think we're at the point where we know how to solve these equations by now, right? We should be able to. If not, I mean, worst case scenario, look at your smaller x, move the smaller x. That's step number 1. So move smaller x, and then move the constant that is with the x. But remember, you have to do opposite signs. Last but not least, divide both sides off 3. And boom, there you go. All right. Now, I think for the next 2 problems, all I want you to do, for the next 2 problems, so you have your x equals 6. All you're doing for the next 2, I think, here, you just substitute. X equals 6. I'll give it to you. And then here, you plug it into either here or there. And then what would happen is for the last part, you'd have to do the entire distance, which basically, if you're not sure, okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Just have to get whatever you miss. And then the last part, you're just going to take a grand total. This side are both going to be 19. Add them up. All right, the last couple things I want to talk about really quick. These last few problems, got a label. Look at what's given to you. For 13, they gave us RS. Where's RS located? Okay. What about ST? Then what happened? Now, are we adding or subtracting to get the missing side? Gotta add them. ST. They gave it to us. You have to look at what's given to you. What happened was, remember, both sides were the same.
Sorry.
Both sides were the same, you gotta add them up. All right, and then the last page. Two quick things about the next to the last page. Okay, listen up. Hold on before we go. Time out, time out. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. Stop. Freeze. Freeze. Thank you. Couple quick things. On the very last page. Sometimes they might give you the overall in one part. To get this part, do we add or subtract the two numbers? Some of us were adding 51 plus 29 to get 80. No, you gotta be careful. Look at what's the overall distance versus what's the smaller. So it's gonna be 22. Now, then on the last page, one more time, supplementary angles. Supplementary angles must add up to what number? They add up to 180. All right. What we're going to do, bring this back for Stinger tomorrow.
Okay.
We do have Stinger tomorrow in here. So Stinger 2-3 is tomorrow. Bring this back because we're going to talk about the last little bit. What's that? It's going to be a completion. Like, hold on to it though. Don't lose it. We'll be back tomorrow for Stinger. Stinger.